So I was finally able to choose a topic for my paper, and we decided on doing unhealthy family dynamics. And what better example can I use than the bat family, and particularly the robins, the male robins? I thought that it was an excellent choice, especially considering how dysfunctional that family is. I can't think of really another good word for it. Dysfunctional just seems to fit. The sources that I plan to use are gonna center a lot more around more recent comics. We get the introduction of Damian Wayne, and especially with the new 52 line, there's a little bit more of the relationship between all four Robins. You have Jason, who's come back as Red Hood. You have Damian, who comes as Robin, the biological son. You have Tim, who's kind of in that little mid arc of his life right now. And then, of course, you have Dick Grayson, who Nightwing's still trying to do his own thing, and Batman's just kind of throwing them all together like, okay, yeah, so I have a biological son now. This is kind of awkward for all of us. Yeah, there's gonna be too many cooks in this kitchen. One of the comics that I really want to center around is Batman and Robin, especially just because we do have Damian Wayne now as Robin and Batman, and Batman's really trying to get him to break Damian out of his assassin phase, or I guess lifestyle at this point. And then, of course, we have poor Dick, who is still working with Batman, but not for Batman. And Batman is just kind of expecting Dick to be an older brother to Damian, kind of be a mentor to Damian, and Dick is not about that. He's the eldest, and he's probably Bruce's most cherished child, but he's not about babysitting Damian just because Bruce asks him to. Bruce is really struggling with Damian, and he kind of gets pissed off because he feels like Bruce expects so much of him when it's really, if I'm being honest, it's not his problem. And then especially you have Jason, and now that Jason's back in Bruce's life, it's really difficult on him because he's like, at this point, he doesn't know whether or not to help Jason. Jason's kind of just completely off doing his own thing. It's very difficult for Bruce to keep tabs on him. And especially now that he's back in Bruce's life, especially after all the trauma that Bruce went through with Jason, he doesn't really know how to handle it. So I really want to use Death in the Family as one of my other sources, just to kind of get that relationship between Bruce and Jason, and also Jason's kind of affiliation with the other Bat Boys. For Tim, there was a specific one I had written down. I can't quite remember the name of it. I'll have to look it back up, but it will be in my bibliography. I really want to kind of harness Dick and Tim's relationship, because when Tim becomes Robin, it's after Jason has already passed away, of course. Bruce doesn't really know how to feel about Tim because, number one, Tim has his own family, he has his own life. He just kind of imposes on Bruce's life and is like, hey, make me part of your thing. And Bruce is like, I don't want you as part of my thing. And Tim is so persistent to be part of the thing that he becomes part of the thing eventually. It's really interesting to see how Tim and Dick just have this relationship that none of the other Bat Boys really have. Tim, who he went to Dick first to try to get Dick to come back to Bruce. And Dick is like, dude, I've already moved on. You can't just ask me to drop my life and go back to Bruce. And so Tim is like, fine, I'll do it myself, because he feels Bruce has no other options. The relationship that develops between Tim and Dick, I feel, is incredibly important, especially in Young Justice, when Dick gets a phone call and the person on the other line, I think it's Barbara, asks who's there, and Dick said, it's my little brother. So they do have a much more developed relationship between the two of them than any of the other Bat Boys. It's only 6 pages. I really just want to harness the struggle that Damian the baby has, not only with the other Bat Boys, but also with his own father, whom he has never actually had a chance to embrace life with. And now Bruce is trying to enlist the help of his previous wards to take care of his birth son. And he's expecting different things from all of them at the same time. And it's incredibly difficult for a family. And I feel like this is incredibly reflective of my own life experiences, which I think is why it's such a good topic for me. Being the eldest of 10 children, I've been expected to take a lot of responsibility into my own hands, kind of against my will, but it was for the well-being of the family and for my parents, so I didn't mind it in the end, though I'd already started my own life. Yeah, I will say this reflects my life in more ways than one, and as I've been delving deeper into this topic and into these sources, it's kind of pulls at a few heartstrings for me, especially because there are so many parallels between certain Robins and my own family members. I find myself in Dick Grayson so much, and Jason Todd is so much like my brother below me. It's kind of scary how similar the two are. And then yeah, I think this is going to be a really good topic for me, and I really hope I can do this paper justice. And one last final word, happy birthday to me and, of course, our resident speedster, Barry Allen. So